City, a little town where I'm from, where everybody's southern raised, just as good as they come. Backwoods and mossy oak and mud holes. And back then we only ate what the farm grow. Man, I miss some days how we played on them dirt roads. And out of towners came with respect, cause they know we all close. Yeah, Southern pride, towing gun folks. Welcome to my city, I-75 South, just north of Lava.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, spin backwoods, running around this small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, time of town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We eddy up with big trucks and Hemis, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey.
It's nothing like our dirt roads, you can bet that, son. I'm from a city, by any means, we gon' protect our guns. I hang with the rednecks and geekies. We get up in big trucks in the backwoods like Indians and teepees. This the home of the mighty, mighty Vikings. Wildcats, blazing, title town license. Winners, pretty girls with country grammar. When I say about Austin, Georgia, I ain't talking about Atlanta. This a different type of city, where the woods are pretty, but get gritty. You hear me? What you know about that 229? You can find us on the Florida, Georgia line, where I reside.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, spin backwoods, running around this small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, time of town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We eddy up with big trucks and Hemis, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey. Moonshine and whiskey.
Some folks really don't understand how important it is and never forget where you came from. You know, when I say Lowndes County, man, I mean Lowndes County.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, spin backwoods, running around this small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, time of town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We eddy up with big trucks and Hemis, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey.
What's up, Lowndes County? What is up, Lowndes County? Welcome to the Viking Nation Live. It's our weekly celebration of the One Lowndes community. I am your host, Larry Godwin. Hope you guys are having a fantastic week. You can tell by the look of my office, it has been a busy week. Got stuff strewn everywhere with research, papers stacked up everywhere. But you know what? I'm going to set all that stuff aside, and we are going to talk about some Lowndes football tonight. And we're going to have a special call-in guest, those representing those Wildcats across town. I think he is not a regular, but he will call in occasionally. And we're talking about Sam Horn, super fan for the Valdosta Wildcats. So he's supposed to be calling in around 7:30. As a matter of fact, I need to remind him because sometimes he will forget. That's what Wildcat fans do sometimes. They forget this stuff. So anyway, let me go ahead and bring on fellow super fan Chase Garnto. Chase, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, LG?
Listen, man, I don't know if you are as excited as I am, but this is like Christmas Eve for me. I don't know how you feel about it.
It's our Super Bowl, dude. I'm nervous.
That's exactly right. It is our Super Bowl for sure. Let's go with the screened in. Let's go with the close up today because you know I'm just so excited. We're just going to change things up a little bit tonight. Hey, before we get ready, before we get really deep into the Viking talk tonight or the Wintersville talk, let's go ahead and thank our sponsors. I want to thank Pepsi of Valdosta for being our title sponsor. They've been sticking with us all year long, Chase. And I
For a
really
while.
appreciate these guys, Dorier Deloach out there at Pepsi Valdosta. You guys know by now, they are producers and distributors of Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Rockstar, Mountain Dew Energy, Mountain Dew Spark, and other favorite flavors of yours. I really appreciate this guy for not just being a sponsor, but keeping me sane when
Yeah.
the financial markets go up and down, up and down, up and down. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. But that's why I lean on this guy, Kyle Conger at White Oak Investment. You can reach him at 229-850-8848. If you just want a friendly ear to talk to, some financial advice, he'll let you know what he thinks, that kind of stuff. So thank you so much, Kyle, for sponsoring. He also sponsors our comment line, the White Oak Investment comment line. And speaking of our comment line, guys, if you want to, I guess, enter our drawing tonight, we're going to have a pretty good drawing tonight. 2 t-shirts in honor of Wintersville Week, Chase. We're giving away 2 t-shirts tonight. And to go along with them, 2 tickets to the lounge side at the Wintersville Classic. So all you got to do to enter that is type in hashtag One Lounge.
One Lounge.
Just like that on the screen. Hashtag One Lounge, no spaces, one word. Doesn't matter if you capitalize letters on, as long as it says hashtag One Lounge, no spaces, you are good as gold. So good luck to all the drawer or all the participants tonight. We want to thank Tim Neesmith with A Shade of Perfection. He makes our houses and homes look beautiful, because when you drive up to a home, one of the first things that you notice are the window treatments. That's just the way it is in the world of houses, right? If you want to make yours look beautiful, Tim can help you. He's not a beautiful man, but he can make your home look good. Tim, I'm just kidding, Stick Man. I'm just kidding. But
Come on,
on a more serious
Stick
note,
Man.
on a more serious note, he does produce a great product, and he backs it up with award-winning service. A Shade of Perfection, where he produces custom shades and blinds. That's Tim Neesmith. You can reach his company at 229-251-3479 or on his website, ashadeofperfection.com. We thank these guys, the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta. After this game tomorrow night, Chase, about 10:30 or 11 o'clock, one half of this county, whether it's the Valdosta fans or the Lowndes fans, they're going to be in need of these guys, their services, right? So they are the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta. They are your certified headache medicine specialist. But whether you're a fan of football or not, if you suffer from migraines, these guys can hook you up. They'll knock it out and get you on with your rest of your life. Josh Batson and Justin Haskin, they offer a variety of migraine and back pain treatments. I want to thank this guy, Chandler Kudik at AquaWorks Pool Company. He keeps your pool looking beautiful and sparkling all year round, even heading into the cooler months. We still want a beautiful pool in the backyard. You don't want it looking green and nasty all winter long. So if that describes you, give Chandler a call. AquaWorks Pool Company at 229-415-0752. And finally, I forgot. We had a new sponsor that signed up in a couple weeks ago. But these guys, Imperial Auto Sales, if you have a question, if you're in the market for a car, rates are pretty high right now. It's hard to find a new car that's affordable. How about a gently used car? These guys can help you. Trey Hatcher and Tony Green, they own Imperial Auto Sales. You can reach them at imperialautosales.com or one of their 2 locations, one on Ashley Street and the other on Bay Tree Road. Thank you to Imperial Auto Sales for sponsoring the Viking Nation Live. And then finally, Jason Castleberry. This guy was a lifesaver, Chase. After the storm, man, I called around to different tree companies, and they were expensive or they were booked up for a week, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a pretty busy guy, but he fitted me into his schedule, and his rates were pretty reasonable, and he does a fantastic job. Jason Castleberry owns a company called Case Tree Services, where he specializes in tree cutting and removal. If you have a need for that service, give Jason a call at 229-740-9626. Mention this ad and get free stump grinding with any tree removal. Now, that finally does it. Thank you so much to all of our sponsors. Man, you can tell, Chase, looking at the White Oak Investment comment line, these fans are on edge. they are they are lighting up the comments already, man. I didn't expect anything less. Being on the eve of the Wintersville Classic, I did not
Oh yeah.
anything less. Listen, I want to start it off with a quote of the day, but this one is provided by yours truly, LG. This is my quote. Here it is. All this, I hope y'all win every game talk does not apply to this game. This is the one game where I hope that group across town loses by 1,000 points. So if you're on the fence, man up, Chase, and pick a side.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We have this conversation all the time at work. You know, people moving in and different guys setting up companies or coming in and working, and they'll call in for something, and we'll be like, "Look, you got to choose a side. What's it going to be, Lowndes or Valdosta?"
That's right. This is the year. You got to choose a side. That's just the way it is. Hey, before we get into the football talk, I do want to go around the nation and recognize a couple folks. One is Coach Stuart Thomas, head coach of Lowndes softball. Big milestone in his career, 300 wins.
Absolutely.
In girls softball. Coach Thomas, you're doing a fantastic job. Keep up the great work. He achieved this milestone on Tuesday, October 3rd versus Camden County. So congratulations to Stuart Thomas. He's been on this show before, very gracious with his time calling into the show, keeping us updated on Lowndes softball, and does a good job with that program. So thank you so much, and congratulations to Coach Stuart Thomas.
Absolutely.
And we also want to say congratulations to the back-to-back grand champions for 2023, and that's the Georgia Bridgemen. They went up to Nashville a couple of weeks ago, Chase, and won the Berrien competition, and then drove all the way up to Oconee High School, I believe.
Yep.
This past weekend, and competed against some big boys up there. And
Yes,
brought
sir.
home the grand champion trophy. So congratulations to John Bowman, all of the other directors out there, and the auxiliary coaches and personnel, and most especially these kids in the Georgia Bridgemen that make us all proud. So congratulations to the Bridgemen.
Absolutely. And just to let you know how close it was, they won by a few tenths of a point.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff, man.
Yeah, it was good.
All right, so let's get into the football talk. Okay, so, there was a little thing that took place in Thomaston. Well, was it in Thomaston or Macon? I can't remember. Well, the GHSA had their executive committee meeting this past week, and they settled on reclassification. So it's going to go full steam ahead. They officially made everything official, except putting all the teams in regions, things like that. That's going to come pretty soon, because I believe sometime this month, I think the GHSA is going to get final FTE, or full-time equivalent, basically student population numbers. And then they're going to take that data, put it into their model that they just approved with reclassification. So it is official. They're going to contract the classifications down to 6 classifications. They're doing something funky with Class A, dividing it into a smaller and a larger classification. But essentially, we're going to 6 classes. So that means that we're going to go back to basically Region 1 6A, and we're going to invite some other teams. We don't know who that is. We speculate on who that might be. But a couple of things that's going to be interesting that the GHSA and the reclassification committee specifically has tweaked this year is in the playoffs for classes 1 through 3, the private schools are going to be taken out, and they're having their own playoff. So during the regular season, the private schools are going to be in the same region with the public schools in classes 1 through 3. But when playoff time comes, they're going to take the privates out, and they're going to have their own playoff system. Don't know how I think about that yet. Now, the private schools are upset about it. They want to be included in the playoffs with the public schools. So I don't know. They're being treated, in their opinion, basically. I'm putting words in their mouth, but I read through the minutes and reading between the lines. The private schools basically feel like they're being treated like redheaded stepchildren. Now, to all the redheaded stepchildren out there, that is not meant to be offensive. That's just an expression, right? So that's the way they feel. So they got, and the private schools, Chase, they feel like they got blindsided by that proposal because that proposal has not come up until they actually showed up at the meeting. So the private schools got a concession out of it, basically starting the next reclassification cycle in a couple of years. Any proposal that is going to be considered by that committee has to be submitted at least 7 days before the classification committee meets to give all the members have a chance to study it, that kind of stuff. And that did not happen. So they feel like they've been blindsided.
Yeah,
Don't know how I feel about that yet.
I can see where they would feel like that. I mean, during the last few times we've discussed the GHSA meetings, even on here, there's been no mention of it. So, I mean, I could understand their frustration completely 1000%. And I would probably be frustrated immensely if I was in their shoes as well.
Yeah. Listen, man, we've got a Cat fan that's behind enemy lines. He's stirring up trouble. I can tell already. My friend Daryl Britt, I can't believe he would show up on a show called the Viking Nation Live and is stirring the pot with all things band talk. Now, this is the guys, this ought to get you fired up. So Daryl says, Valdosta's band is way better than a Georgia Bridgman Brigade. What the heck? If you're going to insult the band, at least use the proper name, Daryl Britt. Come on, my brother. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're flat out wrong. But anyway, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get everybody distracted and upset, that kind of stuff. Now, I can offer you this piece of, not advice, but this piece of feedback. And this is coming from a former marching cat, and that is Stephanie Gupton Broom. She says, as a former marching cat, you are flat wrong, Daryl Britt. There you go. Now, Daryl, take that. Let's get back to our reclassification.
Yeah, man.
So now that public-private split is only going to happen in classes 1 through 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, during the playoff times. So classes 4 through 7 this year, the private schools are still going to compete in the public playoff. Okay, so anyway, just want to make sure everyone is aware of that. Kenneth Murray, Larry, don't do voice changes now. I have no idea. Did I do a voice change?
I didn't hear it, but yeah, you know.
I have no idea what Candace is talking about. They must be talking about something else. I have no idea, but the White Oak Investment comment line is going wild tonight. They are going back and forth and back and forth. Tim Neesmith gets in on the action, says, Daryl must be eating edibles. They are doing some major trash talking now. That's for sure.
Hey, man, look, they don't call us the best band in the land for nothing. I mean, come on.
Absolutely.
It is what it is. We could compare trophies for the Bridgman any day, and I guarantee you ain't got enough trophy room shelf.
Absolutely. Tim Neesmith. Oh, Tim Neesmith says puberty kicked in. Did my voice elevate or something? I have no idea. Listen, I'm warning you guys. I am super excited tonight.
He's
super
probably
excited.
all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Exactly right. Frances Burkhalter has got an interesting question. She says, does anyone know if the game is going to be live streamed? Frances Burkhalter, it is scheduled to be live streamed because Valdosta does stream their games on the NFHS network. That is a subscription service. I think it's like $14.99 a month, something like that. But yes, they are scheduled to stream that on the NFHS. But Francis, I've got some great news for you. There are plenty of tickets left for this game. So if you can make it to the game, then please do so. And I'll take it one step further. Go ahead and enter in one lounge like you see at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Sean's price corrected me, $12.99 a month. Thank you so much, Sean. So,
y'all
Francis,
living in the
if
past,
you want
Daryl.
to enter in for your chance to win 2 tickets to the game on the lounge side, go ahead and enter in #1lounge. Stephen Broom says, LG is just fired up. You can tell I am talking 90 to nothing because I'm usually jacked up on caffeine by the time this show comes on. And tonight, you add in the excitement of the Wintersville Classic, I can barely get the words out of my mouth. I'm so jacked up.
Man, look, it's hard not to be. I mean, this game means so much to so many people, and it means a lot. You know, it's bragging rights for a year for these football players, and there are football players that probably started their football playing days at Lowndes that are now at Valdosta, and there's guys that started their playing days at Valdosta that are now at Lowndes. It happens all
Absolutely.
the time. So
Absolutely.
it means a lot, especially these kids that are maybe started at one school and then out another school and vice versa. It means more to them because if they win, it vindicates what they done. So it proves that, hey, I made the right decision.
Absolutely.
For the other
Hey,
side, not so much.
before Sam Horn calls in tonight, let me go ahead and run off or cover a couple more things before we get into the Wintersville talk. And that is the big news of the week coming out of the GHSA, other than reclassification, is the NIL, the name, image, likeness, has finally officially passed. So here are the guidelines. So I highlighted in red some of the more notable parts of these guidelines, and I'm going to point out some problems that I see as well. Now, some of people are going back and forth. Jerry Sanford says it's $11.99 per month for NFHS. Whether it's $11.99, $12.99, $14, all we know is it costs money. So it's a subscription service. So
in other words,
whatever the cost is,
here,
it is a subscription service.
You got to pull this thing out right here, and you got to pay for something.
Exactly right. Okay, so here's a quick rundown of NIL, the things that stick out to me. So according to these new guidelines, here's some things, right? Providing there is no violation of bylaws prohibiting influencing a student to attend or remain a member school under the GHSA bylaw 1.70, recruiting / undue influence / following coach. Now, this is very, very important, Chase, because this clause basically says that whatever deal a student athlete signs, someone cannot use NIL basically to unduly influence a student athlete from transferring from one school to the other. In other words, all the rules that apply to recruiting and transferring still apply, even with this NIL. So you can't use NIL, according to this, as a way to illegally recruit or influence a student athlete to transfer to your school. Okay, so that's how the GHSA is covering their heinies with that provision in there. Now, the other things are the compensation is not contingent on specific athletic performance or achievement. That basically says, let's use, for example, let's say Travis Tisdale, several years ago when he ran for 400 plus yards against Valdosta, he can't
Time out.
Yeah.
He scored again.
Well, regardless if he scored again or not, he had a big night. So basically, this clause says that he can't specifically use that particular athletic performance to cement or be part of an NIL deal. Okay, so in other words, a t-shirt maker can't go out and say, hey, Travis Tisdale, we're going to sell these t-shirts that say Travis ran for 400 plus yards, 71-35. We're going to put your image and likeness on there. We want you to help sell these shirts. No, that you can't do that according to this clause. So another thing that's kind of worrisome is the compensation is not provided by the school. Here's the key, or any person acting as an agent for the school. Do you know what this rules out? Booster clubs. So booster clubs, according to this clause, basically cannot take part in this. That's what this is directed at. The compensation is not provided by the school directly or any person acting as an agent for the school. Okay. So my concern about, go ahead.
So I got a question, LG. With reading that like that, does that sort of eliminate the businesses that are members of the booster club?
That's a good question. That's a gray area. Now, businesses on their own can do whatever they want. But as long as they don't, the way that I'm reading this and the way it probably means is as long as that company is not acting in concert with the booster club.
Okay. That's an
So
extreme gray
so the
area.
key there is acting as an agent for the school. Okay. All right. So the other thing is no activities in conflict with a member school's local school district policy may be endorsed. Examples include, but are not limited to, that's the key phrase here. Examples include, but are not limited to tobacco products, alcohol products, and controlled substance. Those things, it's common sense, but it's not limited to that. This is kind of vague. And the GHSA, I am predicting, is going to have to go back and revisit this language because that is a terribly open-ended statement. Oh, no activities in conflict with a member school local district policy. So basically, you got 457 member schools out there with potentially 457 sets of rules. That's a problem. That's a major problem. So here's the thing that I really wanted to highlight. Part of that, what I just read to you, top part of your screen, the compensation is not provided by the school or any person acting as an agent for the school. That is a vaguely written statement because it almost comes in conflict with something else that's already referenced. At the top of the screen, it says a student athlete may benefit from the use of their name, image, and likeness in compliance with GHSA bylaw 1.92-C, provided that the compensation is not provided by a school or any person acting as an agent for the school. Now, in another part of the Constitution and bylaws, in that section reference, 1.92C says this: capitalizing on athletic performance, receiving money or gifts with monetary value except college scholarships. But what about Section D? Signing a professional playing contract in any sport or hiring an agent to manage his or her athletic career violates a person's or forfeits their amateur status. So if a student athlete wants to participate in NIL, if their parents and or them are not aware of this prohibition of hiring an agent, what if they go out and hire an agent to represent them in the NIL world? Is it going to violate this clause in a different part of the Constitution and rule them or deem them ineligible? That is a terrible gray area, and the GHSA is going to have to clean up that language.
Here's my suggestion on how you would possibly avoid that. LG, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're trying to get compensation for your NIL, your name, image, and likeness, don't hire an agent. Get your parents to act as your agent on your behalf.
Correct.
That eliminates that because you're not hiring them. They're your direct guardian. They're your direct parental figure. So it's not the same. Yeah,
absolutely. So let me ask you a question. Because I've read all kinds ever since this past Monday, I think. I've seen so many comments on Facebook, and most of it has been very, very negative towards NIL. So here's the question that I have for you: do you think, because some of the comments are pretty radical, do you think? My light just came on. Do you think the NIL is going to ruin high school athletics?
I think it's going to change the landscape because no matter how many different ways you try to regulate it, somebody's going to find a gray area. Somebody's going to find a loophole. Somebody's going to find some way to get through, get around, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen in South Georgia. It's going to happen in North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. But I got news for you. I saw a comment a while ago in the comment line in the White Oak Investment comment section that Metro Atlanta had a lot more money. So let me tell you something. If you think Metro Atlanta's got money, you know absolutely nothing about Lowndes County.
Yeah.
Or South Georgia as a whole. There is a lot of old money down here that ain't even broke straps on new money yet.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Okay, so now let's be honest. Is NIL going to be that big of a deal in high school? Who is going to hire a kid in high school to represent their business or company?
Hire them. Ain't nobody said you got to hire them.
That's
Anybody
what
said that you got to
NIL is.
represent? No. See,
You are going to work for a company to represent them, basically, to be their spokesman.
they're going to hire you to be a door greeter, to greet everybody, to greet the whole 2 people that walk in the door every afternoon.
You still have to hire them to do that.
It's a gray area.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I'm playing devil's advocate here. This is uncharted territory. There are going to be some very creative people. This is what scares me right now. There's going to be some very creative people and or groups out there. They're going to do exactly what I did this week. They're going to go line by line through these guidelines, pick it apart, because the GHSA has already established precedent many times. Unless there is a specific rule to prohibit an activity, that means that activity is allowed. That's common sense, right?
Yep.
So if there is something that is not written down in those guidelines, there are going to be some bad actors out there that will try to exploit it.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I was having a conversation today as well. It's like, and I was asked, do you really think a high school player is going to make a lot of money? Even if they make a little bit of money, that tends to be okay. But do you think high school athletes are going to make a lot of money with these NIL rules?
Let me ask you a question. Let me put that in a different form. How much money do you think it'll really take to get a kid to stay or come to a school?
I don't know.
That's what you need to ask, because that's not the real question. The real question is, how much do you got to pay a 5-star, 4-star, or 3-star to transfer to your school? How
and
much
who's going to pay
NIL
them?
money?
And who's going to pay them?
They're going to find a gray area. It's going to be a company that they set up in town or whatever. They're going to set it up in Loganville somewhere. And
yeah,
it's that's the way they're going to do it. LG, I see it coming. I mean, they're going to be a gray area. Now, are they going to do what we see at the college ranks with that? Like Florida State has the rising spear and Georgia has whatever they call theirs, probably the dog pound litter box, whatever. But it's not going to be like that, because that's, from my understanding, what me and you were discussing earlier in the week, that's kind of against what the GHSA says they can do.
Yeah,
they can't create a collective to be able to funnel money to these kids. So you're going to have to find another way.
Absolutely. Now, I will say that there are legitimate ways for a high school kid to make what I'm considering big time money from some national brands. And here's how I think it might go. You know what? Let's put that thought on hold and let's go to the phone line and talk to our caller. Hey, caller, welcome to the Viking Nation Live. What's on your mind? Sam, hold on 1 second. I got to push a button here.
And we're having technical issues.
We're not having technical issues. I'm having issues. Sam, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, man, we were talking about NIL, but we're going to suspend that conversation because you were gracious with your time tonight to call into a show called the Viking Nation Live on the eve of the annual hate game called the Wintersville Classic. Now, I'm predicting that you're calling in tonight not to say or wish the Vikings well. Is that right?
All I can say is I hope it'll be a good game.
I listen to you playing diplomat. Sam, what is wrong? Listen, Sam, that is not why I wanted you to call in tonight.
I got you.
Now, I am interested to hear the exchange that's about to take place with you and Chase Garnto. Chase
Lord.
is a Lounge super fan. Sam Horn is a Valdosta super fan, and I'm just here playing Skip Bayless. Hey, listen, man, I do have a question for you, Sam.
Yeah.
You know, you were on the show earlier in the off season, and you talked about Valdosta was going to have a good team this year, and they're having a pretty good season. Even though they've got two losses, they've lost to the first game of the season. They went up to Massillon and lost to a good Massillon Tiger team. Last week, they had some some turnover issues, and they racked up a lot of offensive yards, but fell to the McEachern Indians. Do you stand by your statement that Valdosta is still an excellent program this year?
Yeah, I think they're still a good program. I just think that you got to clear up the turnovers.
Yep.
And the undisciplined things that kids do. Outside of that, I think they got a good team. Like I stated, I did say that it was either going to be Mocha was going to come first in the region.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. And then for second, I had Valdosta or Camden. But I would probably have to go Valdosta with a slight edge.
Okay. So you still high on your Cats. Now, what you've had 6 games of evidence to stew over this season, right? You guys are 4-2. So what do you think if you were a Lowndes fan? I know that's a big ask. It's a big hypothetical, but if you were a Lowndes fan, how would you attack this Valdosta team? Let's say you're the defensive coordinator. How would you scheme for the Valdosta offense?
Oh, for the Valdosta offense?
No, let me make sure I'm
so
that we're on the same page. Let's say you're the
Valdosta,
you're the Lowndes defensive coordinator. How do you plan to defend against the Valdosta offense? Listen, you're not giving away secrets because the game plans are locked and loaded.
He ain't gonna answer that.
Me personally, I would probably. I think you have better success throwing the ball against Valdosta than trying to run. And I think that plays in Valdosta's favor with Lowndes because Lowndes, the passing game ain't really how McEachern, how the team from Ohio. So I think Lowndes want to run the ball a little bit more.
Okay.
And that plays into the hands of Valdosta.
Okay, so you give Valdosta's defense an edge. You basically you're saying if you're Valdosta's defense, stop the Lowndes running game and you guys win.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you about Valdosta's offense. So what is the strength of the Valdosta offense? And Sam, I'm going to ask you to speak up a little bit. Some of the audience are having a tough time hearing you.
I got you. The strength of Valdosta offense, I would say, is the running game. I think getting the ball and Prince, he's number one. He played receiver for Valdosta. Getting the ball in his hands, he's a dynamic playmaker for Valdosta. So I think the strength of Valdosta is running the ball and getting the ball into Prince's hands.
I think you might be right there. I think you and I are in agreement on this one. Valdosta is still offensively a run-first program under Shelton Felton, right?
I would say for the most part. I think they try to throw the ball, but, you can only go off the strength of your team.
That's right.
I think Valdosta has gotten a whole lot better at passing the ball than we were last year, but, it's still a work in progress. But I think Valdosta would want to run the ball. I'm pretty sure that's what if you can establish the run, then you probably 9 times out of 10 gonna have a good night offensively.
Gotcha. Okay. So who are the playmakers on the Valdosta offense that, for us Lowndes fans who don't follow the Cats closely, who are the playmakers on the Valdosta offense that we got to look out for tomorrow night?
You got Todd, the quarterback. He scored a touchdown against Lowndes last year. You got Prince, the receiver number one. Stud, he played quarterback as well. Valdosta do switch quarterbacks throughout the game because Ty can play receiver, and Prince can play quarterback. We got a flare of running backs, but the main running back right now is our freshman, live at 5, stud running back.
Deron Foster,
yeah. Stud. And then our offensive line. We got a senior loaded offensive line, and that's a big strength as well. So, and that's where it starts. It starts in the trenches. So that's the strength of Valdosta offense.
Absolutely. So, Sam, early in the year, I think it's the first game. I think your quarterback is that Todd Robinson.
Yeah, Todd Robinson.
Okay,
yeah.
so he got injured during the first game. How was his health?
I think he I think for the most part, he probably about 90%.
Okay.
You know, with the ankle take time.
That's right.
So I can't just say he 100%, but I know Friday night with the type of game that we'll be playing and
That's right.
his adrenaline, I think, he might feel like he's 200% Friday night, but, hypothetically, he's about 80, 90%, I would say.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Yeah.
What's your score prediction for this game?
I would probably say 24-7, 24-3.
Whoa.
I'll probably give you 7, though. I'll give you 7. I'll give Lyle 7.
Well, you're being kind and you're giving us 7. So you're saying Valdosta wins this game 24-7.
Yeah.
Woo, Chase, how do you respond to that?
Man, look, you could, if he could predict the scores, he could probably predict the lottery numbers. So good luck with that.
Oh boy,
it's Lounge Valdosta, man. Look, I could give you 100 different ways to beat Valdosta, but the coaches ain't listening to me. However, I do think a lot of what Sam says is correct. They do have a senior-laden offensive line. They can push people around. They showed that last year. However, that defensive front is not near as good as it was last year. They cannot get after Marvis and harass him like they did last year. So I think that bodes well for Marvis and Smoke, and I think that gives us a little bit of time. I think that gives us a little bit more of an advantage than we had last year because that defensive front from Valdosta last year was something serious.
Chase, let me put you on hold for a second. Sam, Chase has got a good point. Last year's Valdosta defensive front, when that game was played at Martin Stadium, you had some bookends that were just monstrous, and they shut down everything. So one of your defensive line this year, Eric, led by Eric Brantley, he was one of the bookends, but has the defensive line for Valdosta taken a step back compared to last year?
No, I wouldn't. No, I mean, you do miss a kid like Boo Man, the kid that we had last year.
That's right.
That was on that defensive line. That is a big piece to lose, but at the end of the day, Ed Brantley is a force to be reckoned with. And, I have came to about 3 or 4 Lions games this year, and the offensive line is nothing like it was last year. So I do think that Ed Brantley is going to probably be the difference maker on getting that pressure to the quarterback. Nobody can guard Eric. So
now is Brantley is he a one side of the defense player, or do they move him around?
No. He play offense too.
Okay, he plays offense too. I'm talking about specifically on the defensive line. Do they just stick him on the right side, left side, or they put him on both sides?
Oh no, they move him around. They might have him playing inside. He might play 3 technique. He might stand up. They use him all type of different ways.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, but like I say, I think that if you could pass the ball on Valdosta, you'll have a lot of success. I don't think Lounge's passing game is, what I don't think it's to a point where it would scare me. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I think Lounge wants to run the ball. They want to put the ball in Smoke can, but I don't think that's not gonna cut it tomorrow. One thing I can say about Valdosta, they're gonna stop the run.
They're gonna stop the run.
They're gonna stop the run. Yeah.
Okay, I hear you. Chase, you think the Cats got it in them to shut down the Lions run game?
Yeah, because we keep trying to run it between the tackles.
Oh boy, it sounds like you and Sam are on the same page.
I'm just being honest. The man makes a valid point. I'm not going to tell him he's wrong. I mean, it's football. I'll talk football with anybody all day. He's right. We got to get outside of the tackles. We got to use what we got. We got a whole lot of size, but we got a lot of speed. So let's use speed.
Okay, so I can't believe I'm kind of facilitating an agreement between a Lowndes superfan and a Valdosta superfan. Both of you are basically saying Lowndes can't run the ball on this defensive front, and Sam is saying that Lowndes can't throw the ball. What else is left?
Look, you got to throw the ball. You got to get the same way.
Yeah, you got to be able to pass the ball.
Yeah, but the same way Sam's talking about Valdos's got to get the ball in the hands of their playmakers. Lowndes has got to do the same thing. You got to get to you got to get the ball in the hands of Jalen Carter. You got to get the ball in the hands of Smoke. You got to get the ball in the hands of Aiden Sifa. You've got to get the ball to those guys, and you got to use the short passing game that Lowndes can do.
Yeah.
To set up that run game as an extension of that run game. You ain't got to throw the ball 40 yards down.
Hey, Larry, can I ask the Lion super fan a question?
Yeah, man. His name happens to be Chase, but Sam, fire away,
Chase?
man.
He said his name Chase.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing, Chase?
I'm good, Sam. Go ahead.
Hey, I got a question, and I want your honest answer now.
Oh Lord.
Would you say this Lions team this year is probably one of your how can I put it? It's probably one of the least likely teams that you think will go far in the playoffs this year. Do you think this team right here at Lions this year has that capability to go far in the playoffs?
They have all the capability. They are missing some key pieces, and it's not on the field.
Okay. The reason why I asked that is because, the Lions in the past, I look at, the kids, they look small. The offensive line used to be no, I'm just being honest. The offensive line used to be massive. Like, they just look regular now. And outside of that, the reason why I'm asking that is because I have some buddies that's in the Lions program, and, they are saying that Lions has taken a step back. And it didn't start with Coach Carter. It started way before Coach Carter of the program just declining. So that's why I asked that question.
I would say that the program's taken a step back. I would say that we've went through some growing pains. We've way too many coaches in a short amount of time. Way too many coaches in a short in a few years. So, and you've still got a lot of those kids that were there as a freshman that are now seniors that have seen three different coaches in 4 years.
Yeah, I agree.
Man, I don't care if you're at Florida State, Georgia, or Florida. You can't overcome that. There's just no way.
Listen, I'm gonna since you guys are talking players and games and stats, that kind of stuff, I got some stats that I want to lay on both of you.
Oh Lord,
get you some commentary. All right, so this is history. Over the last 35 years, the record is Lowndes 18 wins, Valdosta 17 wins. 35 years. That's over 3 decades. The last 30 years, Lowndes is up 18-12. The last 25 years, Lowndes is up 17-8. The last 20 years, Lowndes is up 14-6. The last 15 years, it's 10-5 Lowndes' favor. The last 10 years, it's 6-4. The last 5 meetings, Sam, Lowndes leads 4-1. You know what that tells me, guys?
No. Listen. Those numbers.
There's a new sheriff in town. Numbers. There's a new V that runs this town. It's the Vikings.
No. Hear me out. Lowndes did have the better program the last 10 years. But I'm telling you, Larry, and these are people that's in the program.
Okay.
The football program is taking a hit right now. It's taking a hit. And I will say, Lowndes has been blessed to have the Ja'Cory Browns.
Yeah.
Corey Brown was a quarterback there 4 years, and I told everybody, I said, when Ja'Cory leaves,
you did.
I remember really see how loud, huh?
I remember you saying that on this show.
Remember, I said, when Ja'Cory leaves, you're going to really see how Lowndes look. So with that being said, like, those are generational kids. But I still haven't had that at the quarterback position. So, 4-1, that is a good record in the last 5 years. But I would say right now, Valdosta is a better program than Lowndes. It's a lot of stuff going on at Lowndes, and you could tell because of the play on the field, So that's why I asked that question to Mr. Chase, because, he's a super fan. I'm pretty sure he know a lot of what's going on. That's why I asked that.
Yeah, and to an extent, I agree. We're going through some extreme growing pains, especially at the quarterback position. And we found ourselves in some uncharted territory for the Viking Nation. We've never found ourselves with a how do I put this? An unled team. Because you always had that leader in like Jakari Brown, Michael Barrett, Travis Tisdale, Tavon Kyle. You always had those guys. This team's still trying to find out who its leader is. And once that guy steps up, you'll see Lowndes take a step forward again.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, listen, before we let you go, I'm going to ask you one more question. I'm going to throw this question out to both of you guys. And I'm Chase, I'm going to put the picture on the screen. So, Sam, I'm going to describe this picture since you're on the phone. Chase, you recognize this?
Yeah,
these are empty seats.
Yeah.
Guys, this is the first time that I can remember ever since I've been following the Wintersville Classic that we don't have a sellout, not just on one side of the stadium or others, because we've had instances in the past where you might have some pockets of empty. I'm talking about on the Lowndes side, there are 300 seats, 300 tickets left. On the Valdosta side, there's a lot more than that. Guys, what is happening to this game? Why is the interest starting to decline?
I think it's about 600 tickets left for Valdosta.
Okay, so 600 plus 300, that's almost 1,000 empty seats.
Yeah. I think that the biggest thing is that, if I can go online and purchase a game and watch the game online, rather than going to find somewhere to park, rather than being around a bunch of people, with people still thinking that COVID's still around and all this stuff, I think it's more accessible to people to get it online and stay home and watch the game, where they could drink their beer or, smoke their cigar or something like that. You see what I'm saying? Like, but I that would be my only reason why. I think if they cut out purchasing the game online, then you would probably have more people coming to the game.
I got you. Okay, so you think it's a streaming issue. Chase, what do you think?
I think it's a pride issue.
A pride issue?
Yep. Because when I was I mean, seriously, think about it. When we were all in school, we all were at Lowndes and Valdosta as students. Man, you took pride in going to that game. You took pride in being in that stadium on Friday nights. I don't think there's enough pride inside of the hallways at Lowndes and Valdosta anymore. I think kids
I would agree with you with that too. I would agree too.
And that bleeds out of the school and into the community, and it's just not there right now.
Listen, I'm going to disagree with you guys somewhat. I can buy streaming affecting some of it, but let's be honest, Lowndes, we've really never had a streaming solution, so we can't blame the Lowndes stuff on streaming.
No, that's why I said pride.
So I think it's a combination of that, but here's the biggest thing. Here's the biggest thing that I see. Whether, Chase, the next time we have a home game, go and look up into the stands and look at the faces of the season ticket holders and the average age of the season ticket holder.
Oh, yeah.
They're older.
I've seen that too, man. You're right about that. They're older, yeah.
I think the demographics are shifting, and our younger generation, they're just not as interested in football, 1, and 2, high school football. Yeah. So that may be a problem for all of our high school programs going forward. The demographics, I think, are shifting on us.
I would agree with that. I would agree.
Yeah, but you've also got to figure out a way to, and Lowndes and Valdosta both, they've got to figure out a way. And I think Lowndes has started trying to figure out a way to build hype around the program with the hype videos and the media outlets and everything like that. And Valdosta's going to figure out a way to do that exact same thing. And they've figured it out. OG Sports Media, all those guys, they do great work. But that's the way you build hype. Kids love to be involved in things like that. Kids love to watch things like that. And when they start watching it, they want to hey man, let's go see what this is all about. That's the way you got to build it with today's society. It's all about Twitter and Instagram. It's all about likes, clicks, and blue check marks. Unfortunately, that's the way it is.
I think a lot of it got to do too, man. Like I think when it comes to youth sports in the city of Valdosta or in the county of Lowndes, like before the game, have something on the field where these kids can compete against each other before the Wintersville Classic. People love to see their kids out on the field. So that'll draw more people to come to the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once you get inside it, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Now,
so I think you could do like, you could do like a little flag game or something for the kids, because
that's right.
it's nothing better than being, I play for the Boys and Girls Club, or I play for the Tattertown Titans, or the Wintersville Wolves. If I can go out on the field and play on the field, that's a difference.
Yeah.
And parents would love to see their kid come out on that field at Lowndes or at Valdosta, play against other kids, and that'll keep them. And then once you start doing that, that'll generate more people to come to the game.
That's right.
So you got to be more creative with stuff, man.
Now, one of our commenters, Steve Nichols, he made an interesting comment. He says, I guess he's challenged what I said about demographics. He says that makes no sense. You can watch the game online tomorrow night. So for this game, you have Steve, you've had this option for a number of years now to watch this game online. What I'm saying, even last 2 years, it's been at Martin Stadium, and we've streamed the game online, but we've always sold out the stadium still. This is the first year, even though the game has been available online for years, this is the first year that I can remember going into a Friday, because Lowndes only had to sell 2,000 plus tickets, and we still have 300 tickets available. That's my point, right? We've had online streaming available for a number of years now.
I remember
this particular game, but now this year we've got these almost 1,000 excess tickets.
Hey, listen, Larry, I remember tickets used to be sold out, and you scrambling, looking on Facebook to see if somebody's selling tickets.
Exactly.
Now,
right.
you can just show up to the game and buy a ticket. Like,
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and I agree 100% with what Sam's saying. I remember, just a few years ago, man, it wasn't even that long ago. Man, you were scrounging by Tuesday, you were scrounging trying to find tickets. You're on Facebook, you're calling everybody you can think of. You're trying to hit up Larry. You're trying to hit up everybody you could think of. Steve Nichols. You're trying to hit up everybody trying to get a ticket. Now, man, like I went today and bought my tickets because I kept watching the count. I'm like, yeah, there's no rush.
Yeah, in years past, I probably would average this particular week. I probably average about 20 phone calls from people asking for tickets. But this week, I've had one phone call. No, actually two phone calls, people asking for tickets.
Wow.
For some reason, this year, maybe it's a combination of streaming. Maybe it's a combination of both teams are not as stellar or on top of the mountain this year. There's both teams are unranked. So, there may be a wane in interest. Like they say, winning takes care of everything, right? So both programs aren't setting the world on fire because everybody thinks it's Colquitt County's world and we're just all living in it.
I would be honest though, Valdosta been dealing with the fans not coming. We've been dealing with that for probably about 10, 12 years now.
Yeah, that's true.
We haven't had fans the only time our stadium would be full would be at the Wintersville Classic. Outside of that, yeah. So,
well, I mean, in Lowndes' fans' defense, I mean, it's a litter box, man. Come on, you can't really blame them.
Yeah. Listen.
That's my shot at Sam.
That comment did not escape me, Chase.
Somebody's a little box. I heard him.
Oh man.
Hey, that's what we used to call it when I was in school. It's just a litter box across town, man.
Sam, listen, I made a deal with our audience last week. Listen, Valdosta is clearly going to be favored to win this game.
Yeah, they 15-point flavor.
So So, but I made a deal with our audience last week. So if we win this game, if Lowndes can pull off the miracle tomorrow night in your eyes, so on next week's show, I am going to show up in a pair of Lowndes overalls with a straw hat. How about that?
That would almost be worth some of the Valdosta fans throwing the game.
So Adam Carter, if you're watching, you got to get this team fired up because everybody wants to see me in overalls and a straw hat. Sam, listen, man, thank you so much for calling into the show tonight and giving us your thoughts. You're always welcome here.
Hey, I appreciate that. I'm over here at Brooks County game supporting the Trojans tonight.
What'd you say?
I said I'm over here at Brooks County.
Hey,
Football
all right.
game.
Supporting
Over here
your
supporting
Trojans
the
over there.
Yeah, supporting the Trojans. Yeah.
Now, is that the new feeder system for the Valdosta Wildcats?
No, you know the Brooks County.
I had to get that shot in there. I'm sorry, Sam.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Wow.
I got you. Nah, we ain't doing that.
No,
Well, Sam,
Valdosta's got their own feeder program.
If you see Coach Grage over there, Coach Freeman, tell him that LG and Chase from the Viking Nation said hello.
All right, got y'all.
See you, man.
Yes, sir,
See
bro.
you, Sam.
Sam's always a fun interview. He really
Oh
is.
yeah, man. And honestly, like none of the as far as the football stuff goes, I'm an X and O guy, Larry. I can't really argue with anything you really said. I mean, but I will say that if Lowndes can find a way to not look for the big play, take what the defense will give them and just inch it down the field 3 yards at a time, 4 yards at a time.
Yeah.
That'll get the job done, guys. It really will. I mean, I love the big play. Let's face it, chicks dig the long ball. It's kind of the same thing. They want to see the long pass. They want to see the big splash play. But I mean, as much as I hate to admit it, Tom Brady proved you didn't need the big fancy splash play. You just needed 5 yards here and there.
Listen,
So,
man,
that's
I
the way you get it
got to
done.
call out one of our fans, one of our commenters on the White Oak Investment comment line. I can't believe he would say that. He's dogging my hat, Chase. Steve Nichols says it's hard to think with you wearing that ridiculous hat. Man, what's he talking about? This is an awesome hat. Don't you guys know that I'm the Asian cowboy?
I thought you just might have been auditioning for the next season of Yellowstone, man. I mean,
I love it. I love it.
you got to come in on the next season of Yellowstone as maybe John Dutton's long lost son that he didn't know he had.
Oh my gosh, that's funny stuff, man. Okay, let's get into it. So let's do a quick update, a Region 1 and a Region 4 summary of the season so far. And guys, if you're just joining us tonight, because we had a lot of new viewers tonight because it's Wintersville week. So if this is something that we do every week on the show, we run down or give you a quick update on how the Region 1's doing, all of our programs around here, as well as Region 4. Why Region 4? Because Region 4 is slated to be the first round matchup with Region 1 in the first round of the playoffs. Okay. So that's why we do it. Region 1, here's how it is. It's Colquitt County's world so far. They're 6-0 overall. Camden County is 5-1. Richmond Hill is 4-2. Valdosta is 4-2. And our Lowndes Vikings find ourselves at the bottom of the mountain at 3-2. But that all could change tomorrow night because right now, everybody is 0-0 in region play. The second half of the season, that's all that matters, right? That's all that matters. Now, Region 4. Chase, we had in my mind, a shocker last week. The Grayson Rams fell to the Newton Rams in a very close game, but I did not see that coming. I knew that Newton has a really good program this year, but I did not see them knocking off Grayson. What about you?
I really didn't either. I thought Grayson had the edge going into that game. Maybe it was just too much of a high coming off the big Lowndes win for Grayson, and they just got caught in a trap game, man. I mean, I really think Grayson is still probably the best, if not the right there tied with Newton as far as the best team in that region.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Stephanie, we got some hecklers. We have some regular hecklers.
I like hecklers. What we got?
Stephanie Broom is a regular heckler. Jason Anderson. Candace Marie, every once in a while, it'll come out. And then David Behringer is a heckler. John Carroll, definitely. But here's what Stephanie Broom says. She's making fun of my hat. She says, I thought we got rid of the cowboy.
Yeah, I don't think she was making fun of your hat.
Yeah, I think you might be right there. Okay, so Region 4. Newton is at the top of the mountain at 6-0, 1-0 in the region. Parkview is right behind them, 5-1, 1-0 in the region. Archer, 3-3. But as far as region play goes, they're undefeated at 1-0. Grayson, 0-1 in the region. South Gwinnett, Brookwood, 0-1. Now, if, God forbid, that Lowndes finds itself as the number 4 seed. It looks like so far, if things play out, we might be on the way to Newton to play the first round. Now, I'm projecting that we're going to finish higher than the 4 seed. How much higher? That's to be determined based on the performance of tomorrow night. I think
I'm
if Lowndes can get on
interested to see if we have
track,
a bounce back.
yeah, Chase, I think if Lowndes can bounce back and get on track tomorrow night with a big win at Bazemore Hyder, I think that injects some much needed confidence into our program, not just with the players and the coaches, but the fans. Because would you agree with this? The fans, our confidence has been shaken so far when we find ourselves at 3-2. I don't think it's disappeared, but it's shaken a little bit. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, but I want to also remind fans that there's a statement in the coaching world that says you lose big, then you lose close, then you win close, then you win big. We've
Okay.
lost big.
Yeah.
Now comes the losing close. Then you'll get to the winning close, and then you'll get to the winning big. But you got to be able to withstand the climb, and that's something that we just got. That's something Lowndes has never had to do in recent memory is withstand the climb. So
you just
gotta hang
laid
on.
something heavy on me there, and I'm trying to process what you just said. But in LG's way of paraphrasing what you just said was, it's going to get worse before it gets better.
No, we've lost.
What you just said.
We hit the bottom. You hit rock bottom last 2 weeks ago in Grayson. You hit rock bottom.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's rock bottom for Lowndes football. I mean, let's face it, Larry. We've been watching this a long time. That's rock bottom for Lowndes.
It was a bad showing, and I'm hoping beyond hope that it was just an aberration, a one-time skid. Although it was the second loss in a row, I'm just hoping it's a one-time. We got shellacked because it was an emotional homecoming for Adam Carter going up to Grayson, that kind of stuff, and we flush it and we get back on track tomorrow night.
Yeah,
Does that sound good?
I had that very same conversation with a young up and coming quarterback last night. As a matter of fact, I told him, I said, the best 2 things about being a quarterback and the things you got to remember is, one, it's a game. Flush it once it's over with. Keep it with you for that night. Flush it the next day and move on. Learn from it, and have a very, very short memory when it comes to mistakes and interceptions on the field. You cannot take that into the next drive. And our team needs to remember that. Take something out of the game at Grayson. Learn from your mistakes. Learn how to fix them, and move on. But if you let it linger and you let it hang over you constantly, it's going to drag you down. Because let's face it, that was pretty much demoralizing. Even as a fan, that was demoralizing for me. And I was watching it, and I'm like, I had no words. But
it was a miserable ride home.
Yeah,
that's all I can say.
Yeah.
I was in such a bad mood. I didn't even feel like stopping at Buc-ee's.
I don't like stopping at Buc-ee's anyways. But I digress.
Listen,
but Lowndes fans, it's a climb. It's a process. We used to have a saying over at Titletown. James Gatlin taught me this. You got to trust the process. It's a process back to where Lowndes wants to be. We just got to trust Adam Carter's process. I've heard it from loads of people in Grayson. If we'll give him the time and we'll trust the process that he's implementing, it will pay dividends. It just will take a few years.
It's very interesting that you said that. That's basically what Adam Carter told his team at the end of the Grayson game, when he had all the team and all the not the fan base, but everybody huddled around the head coach. You guys can picture what I'm talking about. He's talking to the team, and he's basically telling them, guys, you have got to trust me. In other words, you have got to trust this process that I've embarked us on. That's what you're saying here. So if you've got that in my mind, in LG's world, that's basically buy-in. He's basically saying, you got to be all in. You got to put all your chips on the table. Either you're all in or you're not. Right. And so we're going to see tomorrow night if they're all in.
Guys, and I got news for you. Those guys, the fan base who's screaming about size and Lowndes don't have the size anymore. Where's all our size went? It's coming back. You're just going to have to wait a couple of more years. Okay, it's coming. It's going to be there in a couple of more years. Just give it time. I promise you, it's coming.
Yep. I
I
got
mean,
you.
Larry will tell you. I watched this middle school program. It's coming.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Listen, I'm going to add another person to that heckler list. If I didn't do this the first round, I can't remember, but my good friend David Behringer. David, what the heck are you talking about? He says, hashtag Bucky's sucks. David, what are you talking about? They have one of the best chipped barbecue sandwiches ever.
Hey, that's sacrilege.
Those things are like this big. They're huge.
But yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, what is it like $10 for a sandwich?
But it's the best $10 that you've ever spent in your life. In your life.
I don't know. See, I still remember Mitchell's barbecue down up under the overpass years ago. That was the best barbecue in the world.
Where?
Mitchell's barbecue.
Mitchell's barbecue.
Yep. Used to be an old barbecue shack right there under the overpass in downtown.
Yep. You know, one of my favorite barbecue joints? That's Hog and Bones. I got to call those guys to sponsor the show. By far, in my opinion, in this area, Hog and Bones is fantastic. I love it. Love it. Andy Powell says, people in Texas would laugh at the statement, LG. He's talking about the best barbecue and that kind of stuff. Listen, Texas can brag all they want. Texas brags about their football, but they're afraid to play out-of-state competition. Texas brags about barbecue. They don't really know how to cook it there. This is where you get the best barbecue. That's all I'm saying, Andy. Come on now. You got to be with me, my brother. I don't know what you're talking
about. I like Carolina barbecue personally.
Oh, you like that vinegar-based stuff?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
oh yeah.
Greg Maddox says Hog and Bones. Greg, are you and David Behringer riding in the same car? See, you guys think that my favorite place is I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, see, I'm a big fan of Woodstack, so.
Now, listen, all kidding aside, all these barbecue places around here are excellent. You know why?
Oh, yeah.
Because they cook barbecue. I don't care what flavor it is. I love Carolina barbecue. I like Memphis barbecue. I like Texas If it's barbecue, I'm going to eat it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, and tomorrow night we'll eat barbecued wildcat. It's all good.
Listen, I got to remember what I said about a while ago about hecklers. When I said Candace Marie every once in a while will turn into a heckler, she says she's making fun of me for using LG slang when I say my brother. Candace, when this hat is donned on this head, the LG personality comes out, my sister. How about that?
Oh Lord Jesus. Candace, daughter, we're gonna have to forgive him. We just gonna have to let it'll be okay. I'm working with him, Candace. I promise I'm working with him. I'm trying.
Okay. Okay. Enough of the fanfare and barbecue talk and that kind of stuff. Let's talk about the keys to this game. In the last few minutes of the show, let's talk about the keys to get this game. We're going to set aside what Sam said. So in Chase's world, let's talk about the Lowndes offense first. Let's get serious for a second. And I'm going to ask the commenters and the viewers to chime in. What do you guys think? If you were planning the game plan for this, the offensive game plan for Lowndes, how do you attack this Valdosta defense?
Use their physicality and their aggression against them. Misdirection, use our speed. You got to use, like I said, the short passing game is an extension of the run game. And I don't mean screens. I do not mean screens. In fact, you could take every screen in that playbook, ball it up, and do this with it as far as I'm concerned.
You know, this is one time where in high school, I wish that Lowndes would implement the audible, where they would actually call 2 plays at one time and allow your quarterback, allow Marvis to make that read at the line of scrimmage. You know why? I'm looking for Eric Brantley. What side of the line is he lined up on? I changed the play to run to the other side. Does that make sense? To
To an
me, that
extent,
makes a ton
yes.
of sense.
To an extent, yes. But I mean, you can also watch what your safeties are doing. Watch how your corners are opening and closing their hips. You know, if they're playing soft zone coverage or not playing man down press, quick slant, hit them, get it into your hands of your playmakers, Jalen Carter and guys like that. You know, even if you're trying to hit a quick slant, you can run RPOs. Um, you can do a lot of different things, man. Use smoke as a decoy. Send him out to flats as a decoy on a screen. Hit them quick slant across the middle. If they see that motion with smoke, they're immediately going to think screen and they're going to shift and they're going to bite down on it because it's what Lowndes does.
Yeah.
So use it against them. Use your own tendencies that they can see on film. Use it against them because they're prepared for it. Figure out a way to game plan against it. That would be my suggestions.
Do you expect any surprises from the Lowndes offense tomorrow night? You know, because I asked that question, I remember the Randy Mack years, right? Especially for the Wintersville Classic, he would always throw in a trick play or a new wrinkle, especially early in the game.
The double pass.
The double pass. He would always have something, a little wrinkle in his offense. You think Lowndes comes out with a small wrinkle tomorrow night?
Well, I pay attention to different things a lot more than I think most people do sometimes. And there was flashes of something in the East Coweta game that I think Lowndes is working on that throwing into the mix. I saw him go to do it in the East Coweta game, and it just didn't develop like they thought it would. But yeah, I think they're working on a few things that they're going to throw in there.
I'm going to ask you a very serious question. It's going to, as soon as it comes out of my mouth, Chase, it's going to sound disrespectful. Okay, here's what I'm talking about. In this game, based on the body of evidence that we've seen so far this year, is the Lowndes offense capable of scoring 21 points in this game or more?
Capable, yes.
That's a very diplomatic way of answering that question.
No, there's capable, and then there's willingness.
Likely.
And likely, yes. Capable, yes. They have so much talent across the board. Smoke, Jalen Carter, Keelan Hicks. Help me out, the other kid, Deloach.
You talking about the number 8, the wide receiver?
Yes.
Leighton Proctor?
Yes. Yeah. Leighton Proctor. There we go. Leighton Proctor, Aiden Sifa, Smoke Fleming. You've got the talent. You've got all the pieces. Just stop trying to be a power football team. That's my only beg of Lowndes right now. Stop trying to be a power football team.
I agree with you. I think every year a team develops an identity. Either they start the season with an identity or they develop it by the mid part of the season.
Yeah.
Lowndes, I think, has tried to be a power running team, but let's be honest, we're just not a power running team this year.
We're not there yet. We're just not there yet. We're not there yet up front. We're just not. I mean, I hate it for Lowndes. I hate it for Lowndes faithful. I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback from guys like Pelfrey and all that who want to see Lowndes run the football, and some people with some Randy McPherson mentality that only 2 bad things can happen when you throw the football. But there's ways to run the football without trying to run it right behind the center. There just really is. Go back and look at Oregon. Oregon wasn't big up front 10 years ago, but they could run the crap out of the football.
I remember a couple of weeks ago when we were playing, who was that team that we were playing at home? Was it East Coweta? I can't remember. We started the game off so hot. And the game plan was exactly what you're just talking about. We were throwing a lot of short passes, screens, getting the ball quickly to the perimeter to your playmakers. And I remember you and I were down there on the end zone, one of the end zones, and Danny Redshaw was down there, the AD for Lowndes. And I was talking about, and I said out loud, I can't believe we're finally throwing the ball. I love it. And Redshaw turns to me and says, yeah, but everything's short. It's basically an extension of the run game. And that's what you're talking about. Lowndes found a creative way to implement the short game as an extension of the run game and was very productive in the early part of the game. That's what you're talking about.
Yes, you use your short passing game as an extension of the run game. Nothing about throwing the football has to be big, splashy, fancy plays. It doesn't, especially not when you got guys who can catch in the middle of the field and on the outside the way Jalen Carter and Leighton Proctor can do. Then you've got Big Aiden Sifa who can go up and get jump balls if you need them on the sidelines and across the middle. Guys, you got the talent to throw the ball on the short stuff underneath. Take what the defense will give you.
Yeah. You were talking about Pelfrey a while ago, referring to Wilbur Pelfrey. He makes an interesting comment. Let me get your comments on this. What's your take on this? Pelfrey says, I was hoping to see the freshman in at some positions. He's talking about our up-and-coming freshman number 18, I believe. His name is Jace Johnson. They call him Juice.
Yeah,
for this big of a stage, would you put the freshman in here?
that's a tough question.
Yeah.
You want a diplomatic answer or you want a football answer?
Maybe give me a combination.
I think you find a creative way to use Marvis somewhere other than the QB position because that's what they're expecting. They're not expecting the freshman.
Ooh,
But the fresh,
okay.
but the fresh.
I did not expect you to say that.
Marvis is electric with the ball in his hands when he's running.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. He really is. The kid is electric with his feet. All right. But you got to get him outside of the backfield to get him electric. If you put two quarterbacks in on the same play, it confuses them because all they're going to be thinking is double pass.
I'm trying to figure out what you just said. I'm trying to unpack what you just said. Are you saying put the freshman in at quarterback and let Marvis be an athlete?
Yes. Get the ball in. Use Marvis the same way you use Smoke on the screen.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you put him in motion, they're going to be thinking, oh, they're going for the double pass. They're going for the double pass. So they're going to start backpedaling in coverage. Now,
Gary West brings up an interesting point. He's saying, well, Ja'Cory basically made his debut on the big stage in a Valdosta game, and look at how he did.
That is
but
true.
Keep in mind, Ja'Cory had a much different supporting cast around him than a Jace Johnson would. Am I right?
Yeah, let's face it. I mean, you had the big hog mollies up front. You had the four horsemen of the apocalypse on the defensive line. I mean, guys, let's be honest, that was a phenomenally loaded team there for a few years. Probably one of the best Lounge teams I've seen since the Greg Reed, Tyler Hunter, Telvin Smith era. But
I agree with you some point. I would find a way to get Marvis the ball in space. I don't know what that looks like.
I don't know what that looks
because
like
he is a great athlete. I don't know if he's the best quarterback, but I would find a way to get Marvis the ball in space because he is a tremendous athlete.
Yeah, when he's got the ball in his hands and he's running, he's electric. He can make people miss. Because I don't think they see him running and they don't think he's that agile. But I mean, you got enough tape on him by now. You've got to be able to see it as a coach.
That's right.
But I do think with the mobility of Todd at Lowndes, you on the defensive side of the ball, you've got to put a spy on him, especially if they slide Prince back in there at QB. You got to put a spy on him. You can't let him get out and burn you with his feet. Either one of them.
Absolutely.
Now, defensively, I think you shut down the run, force them to throw the ball because they struggle throwing the football and they're a turnover machine when they start throwing. So
that's right.
I think you shut down the run game, force them to throw the ball, or take your chances because and trust me, it's going to be a loaded task trying to shut down Live at 5 to Ron Foster. I've watched that kid since he was a tiny mite. He's the truth.
Okay, so you're talking about one of the Valdosta running backs.
Yes.
Right. So let's talk about let's end the show talking about the Lowndes defense. What are we going to have to do to shut down this, or at least to slow down the Valdosta run game?
You're going to have to tackle really well.
I agree with you there, man. We have had a fundamentals problem all season long with tackling. I can't explain it. I don't know what's going on, but it's obvious that we are having a tackling issue.
I'm gonna take a line from a movie, and I shared this with you the other day. Lowndes needs to go into this game with the mentality on defense to hit everything that moves. Mm-hmm. If it moves and it's in your way, hit it. I mean, that's just the way it's going to have to be in this game. I mean, you're going to have to
Absolutely.
hit everything that moves. If it's got on black and gold, knock the fire out of it. Just,
I agree.
I mean, you got to play like your head's on fire. There's no more just sitting back, waiting, doing this. No, you got to line up, play like your head's on fire.
Yep, absolutely.
And it, you know, as bad as I hate to say it, and as bad as I hate to point this out, it starts right here.
Oh, with heart.
Yep.
Okay, I got you. I was like, I don't know what in the world you're doing.
It starts.
Okay.
It starts right here. You got to find some. Our team's got to dig deep, find it in their soul somewhere, and they got to hit everything that moves this game, and they got to play like their hair's on fire and with a sense of urgency on both sides.
They do. Now, this Valdosta team is a very good rushing team.
Yes, yes.
They are. They are very good at running the ball.
And they have the best of both worlds over there. They've got the flash and they've got the power.
That's right. But it is the Wintersville Classic, and anything can happen in this game.
Yep.
We got to establish momentum early on, and we've got to maintain it. That's obvious. Now, I'm going to make a bold statement to basically end the show. And Travis Hart says, Larry, don't forget about the drawing. I'm not going to forget about the drawing. I'm glad you reminded me, though. Here's the bold statement. If Lowndes allows Valdosta to score more than 21 points, we're going to lose this game. Because based on the evidence that they've shown so far this year, for whatever reason, and I hope they prove me wrong tomorrow night, the Lowndes offense has just proven itself not to be an explosive offense this year. They're a grind it kind of offense, however they decide to do it. But if we're going to win this game, we got to hold their offense to 21 points or less. If they score more than 21, I think we lose this game. What do you think?
Offensively, I got to agree. I won't say that if we allow them to score more than 21 points, I won't go that far. I will say if we can score with them. If we can score with them, we stand a chance.
Yeah.
If it turns into a war of attrition, I think if it settles into a football game and it actually turns into what we all hope the Wintersville Classic is, which is a great football event. If it turns into a great football game, I really think that it could go either way, man. It's the Wintersville Classic, but I think when the tables are stacked and the chips are stacked against them, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to put my money on Lowndes.
Yeah, absolutely. I still think Lowndes wins this game. But what I'm saying is if we let them score 21, more than 21 points, I think the odds are that we're going to lose this game, mainly because we don't have an explosive offense to date. That could all change tomorrow night with the start of region play. But they just haven't shown me they've got it in them yet. I hope that changes. And
I think I want to point this out, Larry. We were very explosive in the East Coweta game in the first half.
Yeah.
We were very, very explosive. We just, for some reason, went into what I call playing not to lose.
Could be. I'm not sure, but could be.
That's what it looked like. Now, I may be wrong, but it seemed like the play calling just changed in the second half. That was just one fan watching and getting other people's insight. Because I got some coaching buddies that sit up in the stands and they watch and they tell me what they see from above, because let's face it, we can't see everything. But I think Lowndes as a whole, like I said, defensively shut down the run.
Yep. Now, before we do our drawing, guys, if you want to enter for your chance to win 2 T-shirts and 2 tickets for tomorrow night's game of the Wintersville Classic, go ahead and put into the comments right now, #OneLowndes, just like you see in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. Now, while you guys are doing that, and while I queue this up, I'm going to grant a request on tonight's White Oak Investment comment line /request line. And our good friend Casey Harrell has this request from LG, the DJ. Chase, look at the look on your face like, oh, Lord, what in the world is he going to say? Casey, and all you Viking maniacs out there, this one's for you. Better hear all you guys sing this song tomorrow night. Get that battle axe chop going. Man, that always gets me fired up. Fired up, I'm telling you. Okay, let's go ahead and do this drawing. Guys, as I'm queuing this up, where'd my thing go? While I'm queuing this up,
He's
you
technical
guys,
difficulties. His caffeine's wearing off, guys. Bear with him.
it is. Here it is. Here it is. We're going to do this drawing. Ready? Here we go.
Drum roll, please.
2 t-shirts, 2 tickets. And the winner is Emmy Gary. I think that's how you pronounce her name. So congratulations, Emmy, for winning tonight's drawing for your 2 t-shirts and your tickets. I will contact you after the show through Facebook Messenger, and we'll work out some meeting point sometime tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon to fit your schedule to get you your prize winnings. So thank you so much to everyone that tuned in tonight. Certainly everyone that entered for your chance to win that drawing. And don't forget, we got a show next week. So you guys got to show up next week to see if I show up in a pair of overalls and a straw hat. With that said, Chase, may God bless you guys. And as always, right?
Go Vikings.
Go Vikings.